Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Today, here in 2022, as we sit now, there are only 10 rare champions that I would advise you guys consider taking to 6 stars inside the game. The rest of the rares in the game, unlike 2020 or 2019 when I started playing this game, there was probably a lot more rares that I would advise you guys, maybe 15 rares, maybe 20 rares, but now with better champions available even for free in this game now as compared to back in the day, and better artifacts, better gear, more accessible ways to upgrade your champions in terms of making them stronger. Some rares, you only need to take the 5 stars to get a lot of utility out of them. Other rares just aren't worth it anymore, taking all the way to 6 stars. Even on my free-to-play account, nothing against War Maiden, but I just took her to 5 stars, and I was totally happy with that. I was able to get a better decreased defense option by the time that I would have probably taken me to farm all the food that I needed, right, to get her to 6 stars. So because of a little bit of power creep, because of the fact that they haven't introduced that many great, compelling, rare champions, but they've introduced a ton of epics, it narrowed it down to 14 champions for me. 10, really, when you take away the 4 starters. No matter what, personally, I'm still advising people upgrade their starting champion, whether it's Elhain, Galek, Kale, or Aethel, to 6 stars as their first priority. After that, these are the 10 champions that I've identified that I would consider taking to 60. Now, everything depends on what champions you have, you know, what your account is looking like. Are you a big spender? Maybe you don't need to take any rares to 6 stars. Maybe you'll have epics in legendaries before you know it. So everything is subjective here in this video. There's also a lot of rares that are really good, like Renegade, for example, that you don't have to take to 6 stars.
Just take me, say you want me.
People don't realize oftentimes that just because a champion, especially a rare champion, is good, doesn't mean you have to sit there for a week or a few days, whatever it takes you, and farm enough food to upgrade them all the way to 6. Renegade, for example, I mean, we're building her to be ideally the slowest on your team because of the sacrificial ritual. She is endgame viable, but you can use her. Plenty of people use her at level 50, right? You don't need to take her all the way to 6 stars. You can save your resources, use them instead on a champion that would benefit more, taking them all the way to 60. So you build her a little bit tanky, you build her relatively slow, you're going to be just fine with Renegade, even at level 50. And that's something that I learned as I progressed more, especially on my free-to-play account. So these are the 10 champions. Without further ado, let's start with the most obvious. My favorite, in my opinion, still the best rare champion inside the entire game. For me personally, it's not even that close, and it's koltar. Koltar is just so good. I mean, she has a strong hard-hitting AoE on the A3. She has a 4-time hitter on the A1. Great for Fire Knight. She's one of the best Fire Knight champions, along with Allure, inside the entire game. Rares, epics, legendaries, you name it. But really, this ability is a spider killer. It's a boss killer. It deals a ton of damage and fully depletes target's turn meter. She also has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit, so you can build her just 70% crit rate and focus on getting that crit damage gauntlets on her. She's a tremendous champion. Really, if she was a legendary, she would still be maxed. She would still be used in the game.
Oh, geez, what a line. You use that on all the girls?
So koltar, always on the list. My personal second favorite, and you guys know, I think she's probably, I don't know, maybe a little underrated in the game, because on tier lists, I see her around, you know, 10 or so in terms of the rare champion ranking in the game. But relictender, I'm just such a massive fan of this champion, guys. She has a cleanse on the A3 and a continuous heal, the big version, on a 3-turn cooldown. And then she has a revival on the A3. There's not that many good rare revivers in the game. Reliquary Tender, Gear Grinder, who you can still use at level 50. You can use even Reliquary at level 50, but she is great to take all the way to 60. Put her in Relentless gear if you have any. If not, just make her fast. And she'll provide a ton of healing, ton of reviving, a ton of cleansing, and support in general. She also has the weak version of decreased attack on her A1, albeit with 9 levels of books. That really sucks. But she's a great champion. Having that decreased attack is going to be great, even though it's the weak version. It's a dependable land rate, and if you don't already have a strong decreased attack on the A1, you can get that utility. Plus, this Tender's Watch is really one of the strongest abilities out of any rare champion inside the game. Next is going to be kind of a niche champion here, guys, but she's good nonetheless. She's very good, actually. And if you're looking for just an arena nuker, Look no further than Marquez. Marquez is the best arena nuker in my opinion. It's not even close in the rare category. So if you're looking for someone to take to 6 stars just to nuke the heck out of the opponents inside the arena, look no further again than Marquez.
Looking for a date? Meet Sophia. Easygoing, seductive, captivating, and I will kill you.
She's pretty slow. She is a defense-based champion, so she can be used in the arena on a go second team or a go first team. She has this hard-hitting ability, Crush the Weak on her A2 on a 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, has a 35, make it a 50% chance when booked, placing a weakened debuff for 2 turns. Deals extra damage to enemies with the weakened debuff. So this comes in form of an extra almost hit on these enemies. So crazy multiplier based on defense with extra damage. She's a very miniature version of a Magnar or even a Trunda with a very hard-hitting AoE attack, which is great for the arena. She's Spirit Affinity, so have to be careful of Magic Affinity champions out there. That is a weak affinity matchup. But overall, she also has a hard-hitting A3 that can pretty much one-shot and or neutralize with the freeze guaranteed chance when booked any opponent inside the arena. She's an underrated rare champion that you guys should go ahead and check out. Champion number 4 is going to be Soulbound Bowyer, man. She is an incredible champion. She was added a couple years ago, and man, she's really, really good. She's one of my favorite rares in the game, guys. On her A1, it's a pretty hard hitting, I think a 2.1 multiplier, I believe 2.3 maybe, an AoE attack. Additional 25% chance inflicting a crit is on all her abilities, so you only have to build her a 75% crit rate on this champion. So put her in crit damage, or and then put her in maybe even a stun set, and you're going to be with Retribution Mastery, CCing with her and dealing a ton of damage. So an AoE on the A1, a single target hitter on the A2, ignoring 75% of the target's defense with a 4 multiplier. Again, that's a high multiplier on this champion. And then the A3, this I believe has a 6 multiplier, another hard-hitting attack with a 75% chance, 100% when booked, of fully depleting the target's turn meter. Man, this kit, when you look at it, is really a solid epic kit on a rare champion. So Soulbound Bowyer, definitely one of my favorites. Next up is going to be none other than, we mentioned Gear Grinder, guys. Again, I really like this champion. He's another reviver, but you can use him at 50. I don't think you need to take him to 60, but it's Bellower. Bellower in a stun set can be one of the best crowd control champions in the game. Even though he has the small version, the weak version of his debuffs, block active skills, that's a great ability to have on an AoE on the A1. He has an AoE on the A2 with decreased speed, weak version, an AoE on the A3 with decreased attack and decreased defense. Now, the decreased attack, defense, and speed are all the weak versions of these abilities, but he can still be an all-around amazing debuffer and crowd control. Not only is he blocking active skills, but a very popular build for Bellower is putting him in that stun set, so he's having a chance, 18% chance of stun every single time he AoEs on every single attack, because that's all he's got, AoE attacks. He can also be a great campaign farmer for you guys as well. Can even be kind of an early game nuker, like an arena nuker or a nuker in dungeons. Next up is going to be the best campaign farmer inside the game. I did a guide on him as somewhat recently, and it's none other than Fellhound. So Fellhound is a boss. I mean, he's good for Fire Knight. He has reflect damage. He has an AoE on his A1 with decreased speed. Kind of cool ability to have. And then he has block damage on an ally for 1 turn. But that A1, let me just show you real quick, guys. I mean, I had Queen Ava as my campaign farmer for like a year or so on this account. And it's like, I don't know why. I just didn't want to downgrade or upgrade from a legendary champion as my campaign farmer to a rare. It just felt weird. So I just like put it on the back burner. And now that I did, I am so happy. Granted, it's only saving me a second or two. I think it's like 2 or 3 seconds on every single run, but that really adds up. Look at Fellhound, man. 5-second campaign farmer, boom, there he goes. Man, I love myself some Fellhound.
Playing my video, inviting me on the show. You You just wanted to make fun of me.
There we go. That is Fellhound. I love this dude. He's definitely worth taking to 6 stars to be your campaign farmer to help meet those stat thresholds to utilize him as your campaign farmer. If you can get there without taking him to 6, sure, go ahead and do it, especially if that's all you're using that champion, but it's much easier when you build him to 6. Next is a brand new champion here in 2022, guys. It is, he's part of the Christmas Fusion, and I believe he's Sacred Order, and he is, this guy, not a lot of people are talking about Castigator, but he's really sneaky good, guys. On his A1, he has a provoke. On the A2, heals the ally with the lowest HP by 20% of this champion's max HP, and then equalizes the HP levels of all allies, and grants this champion an extra turn on a 4-turn cooldown. Ergo, bringing this from a 4 to a 3-turn cooldown after he procs that extra turn. Dude, this is an insane heal. It's one of the best heals in the game. Those of you familiar with Senesha know this ability, right? It almost basically tops everybody off because it's equalizing to the highest HP, and it's healing the ally with the lowest HP before the equalization, before the extra turn. This is a superior ability to Senesha's heal on her A2, not a superior overall champion, but an amazing and sneaky good healer that was just added to the game. I love extra turn procs, and he has a 40% provoke on his A1, and he's an HP-based champion, meaning he's a little bit easier to keep alive compared to more of these squishy rare champions. So he can be a very viable healer for you guys, even into the mid-game of Raid Shadow Legends. He also has this passive where he receives less damage from enemies under provoke. A simple kit, but because he's an HP-based champion as well, I would implore you guys to put him in a shield set. Really stack up his HP. His heal is based on his max HP, so stack him up with as much HP as humanly possible. Put him in a shield set. You get OP heals, you get those extra turns, you get a dependable provoke on the A1. Very, very cool champion added again towards the end of 2021. Next up is going to be a Night Revenant rare champion, and that is none other than Coffin Smasher. Coffin Smasher is a very cool champion, definitely viable in the end game. Speaking of a lot of HP on an HP-based champion, look at that, guys. For a rare champion, almost or just over 21k HP, sign me up. On his A1, a 3-time hitter. Put Giant Slayer on this dude. You have a chance, basically a dependable chance at always keeping decreased attack up on the clan boss. That's an amazing ability, and dealing a lot of damage on that HP-based A1 attack with Giant Slayer Mastery. On his A2, he has HP burn on a 4-turn cooldown. So we get the burn, we got the decreased attack, we got a lot of extra damage vis-a-vis Giant Slayer. What else do you need, man? Decrease the damage enemies inflict with AoE attacks by 5%, so that helps out as well for Clan Boss. This is definitely a champion that can be viable even into the end game for Clan Boss specifically. Let's go on. I always look for 3 hitters, guys. 3 hitters or more on an A1. That's extremely valuable. I kind of always intuitively knew it was valuable, but it took me until maybe a year or so of playing the game to really appreciate and recognize, yeah, 3-time hitters on A1 is something special and unique in itself. Did I even talk about Apothecary? I don't think I did. My bad. All right, Apothecary. I'm obviously not doing this list in order because he would probably be number 3. But speaking of 3-time hitters on the A1, boom, he's got it too, making him instantly viable with Giant Slayer to get a little bit extra damage again out of this champion. The rule of thumb, if you guys are new to the game, is 3 or more hits on the A1 equals Giant Slayer. 1 or 2 hits on the A1 equals War Master in terms of that extra damage potential proc tier 6 mastery choice. Whew, that was a mouthful. Jeez. Really good heal on a 2-turn cooldown on his A2, and then he has an increased speed and a turn meter fill on his A3. He's very fast at 106 base speed, good base stats, also has defense in dungeons by 21%, a fantastic aura to help you guys out in the early and the mid game as well. You're looking for that strong defensive aura as you progress in this game. So Apothecary, a tremendous champion, obviously. All right, I have one more champion left, guys, and it is, some of you might have wondered, where is she? Where is she? Is he gonna forget her? No. Not Frozen Banshee. She's one of the best rares in the game still. She was the first champion added inside all of Raid Shadow Legends in 2019 with the poison sensitivity debuff. Now it's much more plentiful. There's a lot more champions in the game who have it. However, she's still very solid. She has the poison on the A1, provided the target is under the poison sensitivity. On the A2, she has a turn meter fill of all allies for each debuff on the target. And then on the A3, she's placing that poison sensitivity for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. A fairly simplistic kit, but still a great clan boss carry, worth taking to 60 if you're looking to build a very formidable poison team, whether it be for the dragon, whether it be for clan boss. So Frozen Banshee is still a very great and viable option to take all the way to 60 if you're looking to assemble one of those squads. So guys, that's going to do it for the video. Those are the 10 rares, I guess 14 when you consider the starters, that I personally would take to level 60. Again, your resources are so finite, so scarce in this game. There are so many great rare champions that I did not mention. I'm looking at a couple like right here. Seducer is very good. Doomscreech is very good. I mean, there's a lot more too. And there might be situations such as Doom Tower Secret Rooms that you have to take more champions, eventually rare champions, to level 60. But for me, those are the champions that are my favorites. Even as I said at the beginning, champions like, I don't know, Diabolist, who's another really good rare champion who's campaign farmable, I would still use her at level 50 because I think you can outgrade and quickly upgrade a lot of these other rares that I didn't mention in the video. Champions like Dagger with a 75% decreased defense, champions like Gnarlhorn and Diabolist. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling now. Thank you for watching all the way till the end, and as always, take care, guys.